You ready, Steve? Uh-huh. Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today is Friday, 6th day of August, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you can't see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. It also gives you access to the chat box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. On the days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, point any internet-connected browser to cfrn.net/live, and there you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds. You just won't have access to the chat box. We also stream live during the show on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/CFRN. Easy to remember. You already know youtube.com, just /CFRN. Not only do we stream live each day, but we archive every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 1,700 daily live shows archived there for your educational and viewing pleasure. And with that, let's open with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings, for your mercy, for your grace. Thank you for the beauty and the majesty that we see in your creation. Thank you for the opportunity to care for the world that you have made. Today we ask that your blessing would be upon all of our members, that you would give us great vision and enthusiasm for our work. We ask, God, that you would bless the efforts of our hands, the bonds between us, and the influence of our work here today and beyond. Lord, as we plan and share together now, may you guide us by the power of your Holy Spirit and lead us into all truth. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Well, happy Friday, guys. Another week has come and gone. Garrett's going to join us during the show today. Let me give you the numbers here from around the world. The cash markets, the indices. The Dow's up 133 points. The NASDAQ is down 60. S&P 500 up 7. And the Russell 2000 up 11. So the ranks are divided. 3 of the major indices in the green. But the NASDAQ, not so green. Red. 60 points red. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 86 cents, trading 68.23 last. That's a drop of 1.25%. Gold down, hold on to your hats, $46.10, trading 17.6280 last. That's a drop of 2.5%. Silver down $1, trading 24.29 last. That's a drop of almost 4%. And when the price of silver moves $1, if you're trading futures, that's a gain or a loss of $5,000. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei up 91 points, Shanghai down 8, Hang Seng down 25. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 2.5, the DAX up 16, the CAC up 35. So some pretty quiet sideways trade. It's a mixed day for Asia. It is a green day for the UK. And as mentioned, it is a mixed Radio Friday here in the US of A. The Dow, the S&P, and the Russell in the green, but the NASDAQ in the red. Cash index down almost 61 points as we speak. With that, we'll go to Michael and get a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. After that, I'll come back. We'll talk about the logic alerts, the concierge alerts. We're approaching alert number 8,000 since we launched Logic 247. And again, Garrett will be joining us on the show shortly. And Michael, I can see your screen. There you go. Now you got it right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Got it.
All yours.
Flip that around, get it right. There we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 6th day of August, 2021. Now, if you've not taken a free trial with us and you want to, then go to the homepage here at cfrn.net. Scroll down to right here where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, and it's going to bring you to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that you have to do is give us your name, your email, and your phone number, and tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, and you'll be sent the confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? If you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial, so you're going to make sure you click on that link. All right. The spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, trading was not easy today. Well, it was in the beginning, but then gold complicated things. But we'll get into that in just a few minutes. As I said, it's the 6th day of August, 2021. We made 51 ticks in crude. We lost 19 in gold, and we lost 12 on the ES. So we're up 170 per contract on the morning session. Today, it took 8 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. That was the easy part. We're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 35 trades today. That's the most trades we've taken in a very long time in a single session. And, like months. And months. And months. And months. Well, anyway, you get the picture. So, after taking all those trades, we're up $170 a contract this morning. Today, so on the month now, we're up $2,042. That's over 5 trading days, averaging $408 per contract. On the year now, we've gotten our goal on 149 out of 151 days. And that puts us at $94,235 a contract on the year. That's 151 days, averaging $624 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Okay. All right. Let's get into the ES to begin with. Okay. And then we'll do gold, and then we'll end with crude oil. You see there were a lot more trades in crude during the break too. So we'll get into that. On the ES, we started out here on the ES right here. We got 4 ticks in profit on this first one. This was broken dynamic resistance, a trend line trade above broken dynamic resistance. We took 4 ticks on profit. Then we took another one right here. We stopped out, minus 8 ticks. That put us at -4 on the ES. It looks like we could have taken a trade right here on the short side, but we weren't trending. I'm sure that's what I said in the room this morning. We didn't have a good trend. That went right down to the zone, came back up. We missed a trade right here to capture something back, get us back to positive on the day, or back to break even on the ES anyway. And well, that didn't happen either. We missed the trade. We had highlighted an area right here that it took forever to get to. That was way over there. And we had highlighted an area down here that it also took forever to get to. But you can see right here, we were too close to the zone to take a trade here. And then right here, when we took a trade going away from the zone, stopped us out again. So that put us at -12 on the ES. Then it got really choppy as we finished off the morning session. And it did give a trade right here that was good for about a point. And that was it on the ES. So it wasn't easy trading on ES today. Gold was a mess today. It wasn't easy trading. As we go through things, in hindsight, you're going to see trade setups that were there, but when it moved really fast. And when it wasn't moving fast, it was moving opposite of what I wanted it to do, it seemed like. So right here was the beginning of gold. You see how quickly it moved here between 9:30 and all these bars right here are in the same second. See down there it says 9:30:56. All these bars right here say 9:30:56. There, starting right here. All those were in 1 second. So we didn't have any trades that we could do right in there. Okay. Finally got out of there, started going the other way, retracing all of that. And we had, I think our first trade on gold was right here. We picked up 1 tick there. Then we had to break even on that. We didn't take any profit. Kept moving and moving, but it was sideways, so we couldn't do anything. We missed a trade right here. We had a break even trade right there. Then finally we stopped out on this, and that put us down 7 ticks. I was thinking, no big deal. Then we had another break even, and right in here, we didn't have anything that we could do. And it started to move again, so we jumped on it. Right in here, I had some slippage here and here. I would have had my stop at break even on this one if I hadn't had slippage on that one. But I jumped on this one. I ended up with a break even. Now I had pointed out this number up here and went right up to it, to the tick, pulled back, and I thought it was going to go just a little bit further, and it went enough to get my stop to break even had I gotten in right at the top of the bar, but it didn't. Stop me out again. So now we're down 15 in gold. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, that's kind of a mess. Well, then we got a little bit back here, and that put us at minus 12. Okay, and then I stopped out again. That put us at minus 20. And then right in here, I got 1 more tick, put us at minus 19. And then this all happened right here, right around 11 o'clock. And this was moving pretty quick too. I mean, it was time to get into it if I was on top of it and watching it, but I think I was doing something else at the same time. I ended up missing all of these, and this would have gotten us positive on gold if we'd gotten all of those. But as you can see, we didn't get any of them. And right here, I missed a trade right there that would have, I got a break even on a trade right there that if I'd let it run, it would have worked out just fine. It never did get up to this level though. There was another short in here that I didn't do right at the end because it was looking to me like the black step line was going to cross, and so we needed to close on the trend line, and there it was right there. At this point, I was minus 19 on gold, so I really wanted to wait until I got a really nice trade set up before I was going to trade again. And we never did get that trade set up. And that was it. So gold was a big mess, and we ended up with minus 19 on gold. There was 1 trade there that I tried to get out of. I think there were 2 mistakes that I made. One was, I'm trying to find it. I know there were 2 mistakes that I made. This one right here was a mistake. See, that never closed below the trend line. That was 1 right there. And there was another mistake that I made, I think, that I managed to get away with. Well, it was a slippage on this one over here I didn't get away with. I got slippage, should have had a break even, and I shouldn't have been in this trade at all. So those were my 2 mistakes on gold. I can't help the slippage though. So crude oil. I think I made a mistake on crude too, and I stopped out because of it. I'll show you that in a second. Was it that one? It was this one right here, I think. No, I think it was this one. Anyway, the way it started out with crude, you see we had a whole bunch of trades in crude. So now I'm going to go through them all, and we'll see what happened here. We started out with a +2 right there, and then we had a +4 right there. Well, +2 and +2 got us to +4 total. Okay, then we had a break even, and this one right here, I missed this and I took this, but I shouldn't have taken this one because it had already gone into profit, and then it stopped me out. So that was my mistake on crude. I was -4 at that point. Then I picked up 5 ticks there to get us to +1, stopped out again right there to put us back to -7. Had a break even here, missed a trade there, stopped out again to put us at -15. At this point in the day, we were down really well. And this one here, the cycle had started to move up, so it was a questionable trade, but I was down still. I mean, it's not even 10 o'clock yet. And we're down pretty good on gold and on crude. And we were down on the ES, so we're down in everything at this point in the day. But anyway, I stuck it out. I was down to minus 15 right here. Then we picked up 5 ticks. Okay, that's fine. We picked up 5 ticks here to get us to minus 10. Then everything got really choppy. I was looking for it to get up to this level from that last move, but it didn't. It pulled back, and then it eventually got up there. But right in here, I don't know why I didn't take this, but I didn't. And then it came back down, and looks like I got a break even right through here. Okay, so at this point, where the heck we were. After that stop out, that had us at minus 17, and that was a plus 5 that had us at minus 10, I think, and then we had a plus 6 somewhere. This was a plus 6 to put us down to minus 4. Okay, and then we had a plus 11. We missed this trade, but we got plus 11 on this one. Yep, I saw it, Val. It's going to take another 5 minutes anyway. I still have 10 more trades. But we had a plus 11 here to get us to plus 7. All right, then we had a break even there. And you see all this trading. I'm going to show you guys something in just a second here. We had a break even there. Then right here we had a plus 3 to get us to plus 50. We went from plus 7 to plus 12. So this was a plus 5 to get us to plus 12. Then this one was a plus 3 to get us to plus 15. This one was a plus 4 to get us to plus 19. Then we had a break even, and then we stopped out again, put us back down to plus 11. Okay, now what I wanted to show you, let me go over and see if I still got that thing running. Pretty sure I do. That's a 4 tick, that's a 4 tick. GCL, here, this one was an 8 tick range, because right here, well, this is not this section right here, but if you look at the 8 tick range in the same section right in here, you see there were a couple trade setups in here where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trade setups on the 4 tick range, and on the 8 tick range we had 1 right here. 2, 3, and maybe a 4th one right here. So the last one on both the 8 tick and the 4 tick would have stopped us out. Oh, that makes me angry. All right, so that said, we were over here, and after this stop out, we were down to minus 11 and plus 11. Okay, and then we started to get some good traction right here. We went from plus 11 with a 13 tick gain to plus 24, and then a 7 tick gain to plus 31, and then a 12 tick gain to plus 43. We missed that trade right there. Missed that trade right there. And it looks like there was one right in here that we missed as well. We went from 43 to 49 with a 6 tick gain there. And we had a break even there, a plus 2 there to get us to plus 51. Okay, I'm still doing crude oil. To get us to plus 51 at that point, and that's where we ended with crude on the morning session. Yeah, we have so many trades. You know, on crude alone, we had 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 trades on crude. So then we got toward the end of the morning session, and let's see. Well, during the break, there was a nice short right here. This is highest probability trade right here. Okay, and there was a follow-up short right here. This is all during the break now. There was a long trade there, and there, and there, and there. This one would have stopped you out. And now it's turned around, and it looks like it's trying to retrace some of this, and it gave a short trade right here that right now would not be working out for you. Okay, but this would have been a valid trade, lower highs and lower lows, so it would have been a valid trade. That looks like it's probably going to stop you out to the tick and then go down. Okay. And that was crude oil. So the thing that I wanted to show you, that I did actually show you, was we did have people that were trading on the 8-tick range. And in these instances here where the 8-tick range just had a couple of trades, we had a bunch of them on the 4-tick range. See, if we go back to that span right in here, well, we had a couple in here on the 4-tick range. We had a couple in here on the 8-tick range. But if we go back to this area right here, we had right through here, 1, 2, 3 in here, 4 in here, it looks like, and we only had 3 over here. And in this section right here, I guess I didn't go through this on the 8-tick. It was from what, 1024 to 1038. Yeah, so it was right through here. We didn't get, but we had 1 trade setup on the 8-tick, where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trade setups on the 4-tick. Okay, so it just depends how many times you want to trade. You know, if you just pop it in for a short period of time and you can grab, you know, the goal for the day is to get $100 a contract. So we did that here, we did that here, we did that there. And on the 8-tick range, you could have done the same thing, just fewer trades. Okay. All right, so with that, let's go back here to the spreadsheet. Now, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 6th day of August, 2021. We made 51 ticks in crude, lost 19 in gold, lost 12 on the ES, put us at plus 170 on the morning session. And after all those commissions, that was not a big gain. Today, took 8 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 35 trades. So on the month now, we're at $2,042. That's over 5 trading days, averaging $408 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Okay. On the year, we've gotten our goal for the day on 149 out of 151 possible days. And that puts us up $94,235 a contract. That's over 151 trading days, averaging $624 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Okay, per contract per 2-hour trading day. All right, now if you've not taken a free trial with us and you want to, then go to the homepage here at cfrn.net. On the homepage, all that we ask for is your name, your email. I'm sorry, on the homepage, scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that. It's going to bring you to this page, eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Click on that send button. You'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link, okay? If you don't click that link, we don't know that you took the free trial, so you're going to make sure you click on that link. All right? All right. And with that, we can pass it back out. Studio A, fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, I see you are ready.
Yes, sir. I am ready. Recap of the recap.
Today, it took 8 minutes and 5 trades to get to $100 per contract.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Well, the White House has not denied a report that the Biden administration is considering leveraging federal financial muscle to push institutions to require Americans to get vaccinated. As we always are, this is a White House official, says, as we always are, the administration is discussing a host of different measures. We can continue to boost vaccinations across the country. Any reported ideas under consideration are in early conversations. There's no imminent policy decision to preview at this time. The statement comes after the Washington Post reported yesterday that the administration is considering withholding federal funds and using federal regulatory powers in a bid to push Americans to get vaccinated. The plan could target institutions such as long-term care facilities, cruise ships, and universities. long-term care, cruise ships, universities, hoping to reach many of the 90 million Americans who are eligible for the vaccine but really don't want it. One area the plan could focus on is restricting access to federal funds such as Medicare in a bid to persuade nursing homes and long-term care facilities to require that their employees get vaccinated. This is a big deal, guys. The knock is going to come at our door. And among other insane things happening, the infrastructure bill, which we've heard so much about, which we think of as something that would be used to improve highways and bridges and all that. In this spending bill, less than 25% of the $1 trillion actually goes towards rebuilding infrastructure. $10 billion is going to be used to create a civilian climate corp. $20 billion will be used to advance racial equity and environmental justice. $175 billion in subsidies for electric vehicles. $213 billion to build or retrofit 2 million houses and buildings. $100 billion for new public schools and making school lunches greener. $12 billion for community colleges. Billions to eliminate racial and gender inequities in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. $100 billion to expand broadband internet. Now, I've been a long time proponent of providing broadband internet access to rural areas in America like the Appalachia, because many people earn their living on the internet these days. Not just marketers, but people working from home, taking incoming inbound phone calls for large corporations. There's just lots and lots of jobs that are available for people who have access to broadband internet. And so I think that's a good thing. However, the proposal openly states that it wishes to promote government and NGO control of broadband and push out private sector providers. It prioritizes support for broadband networks owned, operated by, or affiliated with local governments, nonprofits, and cooperatives, providers with less pressure to turn a profit. Well, we know that there are countries where the government controls the internet, turns it on and off like a water faucet when they want, at their will, and looks like that could be headed our way. And then $25 billion for government child care programs. Now, some of these things are good. I mean, it's very difficult for a single mom to make it, the high cost of child care these days. So, and the list just goes on and on. Remember, the infrastructure bill, less than 25% actually goes to fixing our roads, our interstate system, bridges that are on the verge of falling down, etc. So just a couple headlines to think about as we go into the weekend, and think about what will happen when they knock on your door. And we pray they don't, but if it comes down to it, if they knock on your door and demand that you allow them to vaccinate you, what will you do? How will you handle it? What will your response be? Because I know many people, and we hear so much about racial equity. The black population in America is the largest segment of the population that is currently unvaccinated. Not because they don't have access to the vaccines, but for whatever reason they've chosen they don't want the vaccine. So these people who we hear over and over again about the racial inequality, pretty soon they won't be able to go into a restaurant or a movie theater or a ball game unless they fold and allow themselves to be vaccinated. I don't know if you've ever been to a stockyard and seen the animals, whether they be cows or or pigs being led to slaughter, but I have a real hard time getting that image out of my head. So I'll talk about something else. Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around the clock Emini alert service. We're in week 157, where we've got, I think, 7 more alerts, and we'll be at alert number 8,000. This week, since Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 61 alerts. 8 of them never triggered, still waiting on the outcome of 1. So we had 52 actionable alerts, of which 4 alerts, or 8%, would have been stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, based on market structure and a very simple 3-step process that we teach all of our traders. Now, those alerts, the logic alerts that flow around the clock, those are based on current price action. Our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, those are based on historic price action. And these do not come out around the clock. These come out as a static report shortly after the Globex Open each evening. And so last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, that began the Friday session, even though it's still Thursday night here in the U.S. 6 p.m. begins the Friday session. So at 6:30, this report was published. So all of our members had access to these numbers. When the report's published, all you'd have to do is go to your chart, put a line in the sand at 44.24, put a line in the sand at 43.99. If price starts trending up towards 44.24, that's bullish. So you'll use everything you've learned in the live training room and the logic alerts to find opportunities to buy the market, buy the dips. Price starts trending down towards 43.99, that's bearish. So you'll learn what you've learned in the live training room and the logic alerts to find opportunities to sell the market, short the rallies, bullish or bearish. And for whatever market you trade, S&P, Dow, Russell, crude oil, NQ, gold, and silver. So if you want a screenshot, you can grab it now, and we'll go to the daily chart. Okay, so yesterday we got a new all-time historic intraday high of 1 tick, of which I'm always very suspicious of a new high, especially on a daily chart of only 1 tick. But lo and behold, we had good, we had economic reports this morning that were, I think, better than expected, and so there's price. We have a new all-time historic intraday high. Just when I thought it wasn't going to happen, there it is. Which just goes to show the market doesn't care what we think. The market's going to do what the market's going to do, and the market's always right. Which is why our strategy does its best to just simply do what the market's doing. No reason to fight the trend. Now this trend line, speaking of trends, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, we had a high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, and then yesterday we overcame it, and this is where we closed out the Thursday session, and now today the Friday session, the new all-time historic intraday high, 44.33 and a quarter. The new all-time historic closing high, 44.21, which just so happens to be our weekly, one of our weekly trading zones of this week, 44.21/44.22. The highest weekly zone this week is up at 44.78, which is right about where that 100% fib extension is. So we know where resistance is overhead. Support below us is at the low of the day, blue and climbing. Blue and climbing is bullish, that's support. Red and falling is bearish, resistance. The name is the CFMA1, but I just call it blue and climbing, red and falling. The other indicator is the BBC. That just stands for bull, bear, cross. When price crosses above it, we're bullish, anticipating higher prices. And when price crosses below, we're bearish, anticipating lower prices. That's true across all markets and all time frames. Everything we teach, our methodology, our strategy, fluid across all markets and all time frames, because price flows the same on all markets and all time frames, from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It is a never-ending cycle. So let's go to the 30-minute chart of the S&P. Last night's CTA on the long side was 44.24. The vertical line separates Thursday from Friday. Here's Wednesday back here. Here's Thursday. Here's Friday. So we opened last night right at the weekly zone. Things were very quiet. We attempted to pull back to the BBC. We didn't quite get there. So we rallied back up to the weekly trading zone. Now the weekly zones go out to our members Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So our members have an opportunity to get the zones on their chart before Wall Street even wakes up. Once they're published, these zones do not change for the entire week. We've published the zones since December 14th, 2009. So on this second trip up to the zone, where again we ran into resistance, whenever price rallies up to a zone, we expect it to be resistance until proven otherwise. So we got our resistance and a pullback, another rally, and then this time we did pull back to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. A little doji there. But it made it difficult to be long here because we were so close to the weekly zone. But we finally got above the zone. We finally got above the high of yesterday, the all-time historic high, to put in a new historic high. And then we hit the CTA trigger at 44.24, and we triggered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Some of them, like this one, we only made it up to 25.25, so that's 1.25 points. And then price dips below and tries again, dips below, tries again. Now, to have 9, that's a little unusual, but to have 3, 4, 5, 6 triggers at one alert, that's not unusual at all. In fact, we see that daily. In fact, once an alert triggers, there's a greater probability of it triggering multiple times than not triggering multiple times. So from the trigger to the high of the session, which came on the 9:30 opening candle this morning, from 24, the swing high is 33. So 9 points, $50 a point, $400, $450 per contract traded. Will it dip again? Well, just have to be patient and see. The last dip below came on the 11 a.m. candle, and we're now on the 12:30 candle. On the Dow, the long CTA is 35010, 35,010. And we triggered once, and on this one, on the pullback, we didn't pull all the way back. Price got hung up right here, found support at blue and climbing. The target on every long alert, the final trade to target, is always the weekly zone above, and so we triggered at 50.10, and then 90 points later we hit the target. So that's 90 points at $5 a point. That's $450 per contract traded. Sounds familiar. On the Russell, 2240 was the long CTA. This line's got a little long here. There we go. 2240. Yes. So we triggered once, ran to the target, 9 points at $50 a point, $450 per contract traded. It's 3 in a row. Then price gets back below the trigger, finds support at the BBC. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. And so this bounce took us to 22.46, then back below the trigger, and this one took us right to the target. And here we are consolidating just below the weekly trading zone, which is 2249/2250. Crude oil, the short side was 68.55, and the long side was 69.45. And again, all of our traders had this information last night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And not only did they have the CTA alerts, but they also have the logic alerts. Remember, the CTAs are based on historic price action. The logic is based on current price action. And when the two agree, that's where you'll find your highest probability, low risk trade opportunities. So on the first trigger, we make it up to, well, actually this is the swing high of the first trigger. Almost $300 per contract traded, back below the trigger, and then a little run up to 69.62, so that's about $170 per contract traded, and then back below the trigger, another little run up, back below the trigger. This run up took us to 70.18. So that would be 55, 65, about $700 per contract traded. And then right here, price came right back to the trigger, but it didn't go one tick below. It stopped right at the trigger, did an about face, and ran up to 70.12. So that's about $650 per contract traded. Actually, this continued on into this candle, and then we came down through, and this is the 9:30 opening candle here. Took us right down to the zone, which acted as support. We caught a bounce up to the BBC. When we bounce up to the BBC, we expect it to be good resistance until proven otherwise. And so on the next trip down, we did trigger. And from 68.55, we traded down to 68.10. That's $450 per contract traded. And then we got back above the trigger. And this time we dropped to 67.80. So that's $700 per contract traded. And now we just got back above the trigger. And so far, $100 per contract traded on that last trigger. Okay, gold. We definitely didn't trigger on the long side, but boy did we trigger on the short side. Okay, the trigger was 1802. As you can see right here, short side 1802. Now the zone below, of course, is the trade to target. We obviously went much further than that. We first hit the trigger right in here, and so from 1802 we dropped to 1798, so that's $400 per contract traded. And we got back above the trigger, and this time we dropped to the target at 1796, so that's $600 per contract traded. And we got back above the trigger, and we did the $600 target again per contract, and we kept going to the next zone where we consolidated, and now we're trading below that zone. So from 1802 to 1760, it's about a $4,000 per contract move. 40 points, $100 a point. That's $4,000 per contract traded. And if this candle were to close green above the step line, that would be an official exit signal. When price is coming down, see how the step line is on the left side of red and falling. As a move starts to run out of steam, price will start to walk sideways as it did here. The step line will cross from the left side to the right side. Once that happens, on a short trade, you're looking for the first green candle that closes above the step line after it crosses from the left side to the right side. And that is the official exit signal. So huge, huge drop for gold today. And silver. A $1 move in silver is worth $5 if you're trading futures. So the short trigger was 25.10. The first drop, we dropped to 24.97. So 13 pennies, 2 pennies, $100. We get back above the trigger right there. Find resistance at the BBC, which is what we anticipate. And then on this candle, the 8:30 candle, when that news came out this morning, we traded right through that weekly zone, and we found support at the next weekly zone and bounced. That zone's 24.20/21, and now you can see price is starting to walk sideways. So a green close above the step line would be the official exit signal. So from 25.10 to 24.10, that would be $5. We haven't quite made it that far. The swing low so far, 24.20. And that's it. That takes us through all the markets. ES, we still have one weekly zone overhead. I don't foresee us getting there today. It's way up at the highest weekly zone for the S&P is 44.78. Well, the market will probably be very happy to consolidate and just be able to close in this area for the week. With a new all-time historic intraday, and as long as they can hold it up, we'll have a new historic closing high today as well. Now let me check with Garrett, see if he's having any trouble getting logged on. Put you on hold just a second while I check with him. Be right back. Don't go away. Not cover. Garrett's on his way. He's logging in. We didn't cover the NQ. Okay, the short trigger on the NQ was 15125. There we go, 15125. Okay. And the target, of course, is the zone below, 15.079/15.080. So from 125 down to 80. So 45 points at $20 a point. It's $900 per contract traded. We got back above the trigger, and the market delivered another $900 per contract traded. Found support at the zone, found support at the zone again. When price drops to a zone, we expect it to be good support until proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect it to be good resistance until proven otherwise. Now, this line doesn't belong over here. Okay. Now the market's open Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you've been on trial this week and you were ready to become a member of the family with unfettered access to everything we do, every live training room, every workshop, our indicators, our strategy, our methodology, everything that we offer, including the around-the-clock alerts and the CTAs, all you got to do is point your browser to eminifuturestrading.com. One-click access. If you have any questions along the way, you can call Valerie at 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. Now, if that sounds like a sales pitch, let me just say 9 out of 10 new traders fail. Not inside our walls. No. It's a different world inside the walls of CFRN. But out in the world, 9 out of 10. That's a statistic published back in 2006 by Futures Magazine, and no one's ever disputed it. In fact, many say the number is actually higher, like 9.5 out of 10, or 95%. And the reason is pretty simple, although it wasn't in the article. I decided to figure out why so many people failed, because that's an astronomical number, 9 out of 10. I mean, think of the toughest jobs in the world. They don't have a 90% washout rate, but trading does. And it was pretty easy to connect the dots. 9 out of 10 traders don't have a teacher. They don't have a business plan. They don't have a trading plan. And they don't have a definable edge. And those are the things that you need to become a consistent trader. And so, everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. EminiFuturesTrading.com. If you need help, call Valerie 949-42-EMINI or email support@cfrn.net. Now, if you've tried learning how to trade by watching videos and reading books, well, you know how that turned out. I have nothing against books or videos. In fact, we have thousands upon thousands of videos. But we don't rely on those videos to teach you our methodology and our strategy. We provide you with a live instructor 2 hours a day, every trading day. He is putting on, taking off trades in live markets and answering your questions along the way. Everything he does, he carefully explains it. Whatever the trade is, whether it's long gold or short the S&P, he talks and walks you through it as he's placing the trade, teaching you the methodology and the strategy, because our goal is for you to become self-sufficient. Our goal is for you to no longer need us to tell you when to get in and when to get out. The purpose of the alerts is to let you know that there's opportunity on the horizon. I build in at least 20 minutes to each alert to the best of my ability, giving you plenty of time to get to your chart, study the chart, study the alert, so that you understand why that's a window of opportunity. And then as price reaches the trigger, then you get to use everything that you've learned in the live training room to trade that window of opportunity. And there's Garrett.
Hey, hi, Dwayne.
Hey, Garrett, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good. Good to have you with us. I
Good
shared
to-
that video you sent me this morning, Although basically we're not TikTok people for reasons, whatever. I went ahead
I'm
and
not either.
I watched
I
that,
ju-
and now that video I posted in the Breeze channel, guys, and I'm talking about this one right here.
Yeah,
I
that's a
can't
real
play it.
attention getter.
I can't play it for you now. Wait a minute, I can actually. Let me
Go ahead.
just-
It's not very long. It's incredible, really, to
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Here.
It'll take me a second, but I'm gonna.
remember it was Bill Gates who was down in Africa testing his vaccine out earlier with, and also did it in India. And so these African people didn't want anything to do with the vaccine.
Now, for some
Interesting.
reason, why is it not giving me an option to use? I can't access my big speakers. I could probably do it this way.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
I
don't
could
know
usually
how
play it on my big speakers, but when I go to my playback devices, it's not an option. Let me see if it's an option up here. Audio. No. Oddly enough, it is not. Let's see. You know what, guys?
Interesting,
I'm just gonna let you watch it yourself.
This is Jovenel Moise.
He says news you
it's not
won't see on TV.
the audio is gonna be so crummy that people won't be able to hear it. So, guys, in the Breeze channel, watch the video. But do you remember that? I really just wanted to get to the names of all the people.
Oh yeah, I'd like to.
Did you write them down? All right.
No, I didn't, but I'd really like to. I really think it's kind of and that's why I wish I'm not familiar enough with TikTok to. I get things from TikTok that are sent to me like that was, but I'm not familiar enough with it to be able to. It would be nice if you could go and access it like YouTube or something like that. But
Well,
but there's so
I can
much.
get it to play. I just can't get my big speakers to play for refusing. I'm just going to see if I can get a list of the names here. Okay, the fact check from Reuters said there's no evidence that these 5 leaders were killed for opposing the COVID-19 vaccination.
Here's the problem I got to interrupt you. The problem that we have in the country today that people really have to realize, and really keeping things on a very simple level. The problem is we have censorship.
Oh,
Do you know who?
Yeah,
you know
they're
who-
not denying that people died. They're just saying that it's impossible to connect the dots.
You can't go to fact check. Snopes is owned heavy
No.
duty.
I'm on the Reuters.
left-
I'm reading an article from the Reuters website.
Do you know who owns Reuters?
No, I have no idea.
The Rothschilds since the 1800s.
I did not know that.
So here's
Let
the
me
point.
let me give everybody the names so they know who we're talking about. The Jovenel Moise of Haiti, John Magufuli of Tanzania, Hamed Bakayoko of the Ivory Coast, Ambrose Delamini of Eswatini, and Pierre Nkurunziza of Burundi. Now, these people have all died this year or December of last year. And the video that I attempted to show you and that I want you to watch in the Breeze channel in Telegram, the first guy, Moise, was shot dead in his home on July 7th by heavily armed assassins. In Tanzania, Magufuli, when he was in office, played down the threat of COVID-19, blah, blah, and he was killed. Hamed Bakayoko, they say he died of cancer. And the next one in Eswatini, he's the prime minister. So what you'll get from the TikTok video, it's very short, so I encourage you all to take a look at it. These are all people who have died, and supposedly it's because they did not want the vaccination to come to their country, just as many of us don't want it coming to our home or to our bodies. So, you know, watch the video and then do your own fact checking. That there's never a substitute for your own due diligence. Go ahead, Garrett.
By the way, I was going to say, you know, now first of all, we know there's censorship. We know where it is. It's, you know, certainly, you know, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook,
Sure.
etc. If you do anything that's conservative, and remember this, I had a conversation yesterday with an old friend of mine that I went to high school with, who has been living out in Hawaii in Hilo for a long time, and we hadn't spoken for a while, and he said something. I don't know. We got around to politics, and he said, "You know, do you like Trump, or did you like Trump or something?" And I said that I did, you know, and he didn't take offense to it. He just laughed. And I said, "Well, I won't get into why you're laughing." I said, "I think I know." But I said, "Let me do this." I said, "Let's forget politics, and let's forget people's personalities, okay? Just for a moment." I said, "Just go along with me here." I said, "Do you remember General Patton?" General Patton, I don't know what kind of personality he had. I hear from some sources that it wasn't so good, and maybe if he was your next door neighbor, maybe you wouldn't like him. But if you're in the midst of a war, maybe he's the best guy you can possibly have to accomplish that objective. Would you agree? He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I said, "Look, I said, forget politics." I said, "Let me break politics down to you in the most simplest way I can. Forget Republican, Democrat, left, right, all of that." I said, you're doing one of two things all the time. You're either going toward freedom or you're going away from freedom. And let's be specific when you're going away from it. When you're going away from freedom, you're not just going away from freedom, you're going toward control. So the choice here is you're going toward freedom or you're going toward control. If you're going toward, how do you know if you're going toward freedom? Well, if the things that the candidate is pushing deal with the Constitution and following it, and with preserving individual rights, regardless of whether he's Republican or Democrat or tall or short, or whether you like him or not, or her. If they're focusing on the Constitution and preserving your individual rights, that's going toward freedom. If they're wanting to take away your individual rights and try to sell you on the idea of collective rights, which do not exist, by the way, there's only individual rights. And if they're trying to control you, you know, that's, you know, they're taking away your rights and they're ignoring the Constitution. Well, those people are looking to control you. So I said, do you want to be controlled or do you want to have freedom? He says, well, obviously I want freedom. I said, well, then maybe you should think about what I said and re-examine, you know, who you like and who you don't like. And let's talk next week and let me know what you come up with. Anyway, that's, you got to get these things down to simplicity, because brainwashing starts with clouding one's mind. I'll show you, I've got a kind of a quick stuff today. So there's a couple of things I wanted to show you.
Okay, let me send you the screens over.
Let me see where, oh, there it is. A couple of things that are kind of fun, because we've been,
Okay,
all of us,
you've got the screens.
all of us have been brainwashed for many, many decades. And when stuff like that happens over time, there's just, you know, I mean, it has an effect on everybody.
Sure.
Is the observation showing up for everybody?
Yep, we got it. Loud and clear.
This is the one I'm working on now. And it's like, don't think. That's part of the brainwashing that's going on. And then if you look at the caption underneath is, don't think, you don't need to. We will tell you how and what to think. We are your government and we are here to help. And that's really what's been going on. This is what's happening in the news media. It's what's happening from our politicians. It's why you had a person who was, popular. I mean, at least to the fact that there was standing room only when he had a rally, and there were just hordes of people. There are people who couldn't get into the rally and lined up outside. And then you see our current president, and he's lucky to have people sitting, 6 people sitting when he speaks. There is no one there. That alone should tell you who won the election. And somehow, since the guy who won by a landslide is not the president, and again, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, this is just think about it. That's the case. The guy won the election, he's not president. And what I've been harping on for years now, if not decades, is the evolution of government. And we never think this way with our own government. We can see it in history. We can say, oh, look, yeah, if you go over time, look at Rome there. They went from a republic, and then they were a democracy, and then they became a dictatorship. What do you know about that? And, oh, look, didn't that happen in Germany too? And but here in the United States, it's, oh, no. We're people will tell you we're a democracy. We're certainly not a republic. We don't act, think, walk, look, or smell like a republic. We're not one. That's clearly gone. The democracy, are we a democracy? I don't know. Did the guy who won the election win the election? Oh, apparently not. So maybe we're not a democracy anymore either. Maybe we've already had that. But the DNA rule on this planet is, if you're living within that time period, and particularly if you are the reigning, albeit dying, empire on the planet, you just can't think that way. You've had decades of being brought up that we're the biggest and the best, and most people still think that, and still think we're a democracy or a republic or whatever. So that's just it's hard to think with us, but look at the history of other countries and other empires, see where they've gone. Beware the above graphic and caption. Beware the above graphic and caption is an IQ test. It really is. Excuse me. It's not so much an IQ test as it is an awareness test, because very, very intelligent people are as easily and as quickly brainwashed as people of significantly less intelligence, and some of much lesser intelligence aren't brainwashed and are aware, and so forth. So the people who have done the job have done a good job, and they realize that they've got to get the intelligent people first, and they have. This is George Carlin died a number of years ago, but George Carlin had a remark. In addition to being a funny guy, he really had a grasp of what was going on, and probably hated both parties. Undoubtedly for
equally,
good reason. Yeah, equally.
His
because
disdain for government was.
Yeah, parties. We've got to remember that we've been controlled for a long time, and the people that did the controlling set up parties, and they set it up with 2 parties. Why aren't there 5 parties? Oh, by the way, on if you've got I didn't want to forget this. If you're doing a fact check. And you think, well, gee, I don't trust Snopes, so I'm going to go to this one over here that says fact check. These, just like our news media, all these fact check places are done by the media, which is owned by the elite. So obviously Snopes is there. They've been exposed, so they've learned to do other ones called fact check or whatever, and don't have any affiliation. But it's the same people. They're giving you the same brainwashing. In Reuters, what did Reuters say? They said, well, there's no proof on this. But wouldn't it be interesting if you were a fact checker to say, well, we don't have any proof on this. However, isn't it interesting, and isn't this quite a bit beyond coincidence? Here's a bunch of African nations, all of which who don't want the vaccine, and all these guys have gotten shot. Forget whether we got any proof or not. Why don't we think? What the heck is that about? And by the way, since we're a fact check, I think we're going to look into it. Is Reuters looking into it?
Well, I mean, just the fact that 4 Capitol policemen have committed suicide since the January 6th quote unquote
and I
insurrection,
wonder if
that's
those were police. I wonder if those were Capitol policemen who happened to see things that just weren't quite right and decided that they wanted to remove themselves from that situation, or possibly share with the news media or somebody what happened. Gee, I wonder if that's what went on. But again,
certainly,
I mean,
certainly a question that deserves to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, if you were really a fact check, and particularly if you're Reuters, I mean, isn't Reuters about news? So, if there were, and isn't news about what do you call it? Not inquisitive reporting, but
journalism.
Journalism. I mean, but the whole thing about journalism is, gee, let's take a look
to the bottom of it. Let's what's really going on.
Let's find out. And if this is certainly interesting. I mean, what are the odds that this many people got? First of all, what are the odds that this many people in a country, in a continent, get assassinated? I mean, it's one. Somewhere after 2, you got kind of start going, what's going on? If you've got 5, 6, 7, I mean, that's excuse me, folks, that's not a news story. We as Reuters wouldn't want to look into this as a news agency, but people do not have the ability any longer to think that up. That doesn't take a triple-digit IQ to come up with what I just said.
Right.
It's like, why wouldn't people question the news thing? Well, gosh, you're news people. Why aren't you looking this up? This is. Well, oh no, we're just going to say that. Well, we don't. There's no evidence of this. End of story. Don't think. Come on now. You're starting to think. We've asked you not to think. And if you keep thinking, we may have to send some people out that will encourage you not to think. Like you're supposed to be doing. When is that going to happen? When are you going to get the guys who drop by your house and say, you're thinking a little bit too much.
Right.
We don't like it. And we're going to make it real uncomfortable for you if you continue this practice. By the way, that's exactly what happened with these people in Africa. They were thinking, they were attempting to protect their people. They did protect them. And they were removed. Now, I don't know. That sounds like a conspiracy to me. Isn't that what the next comment would be? Mm-hmm. Gee, that sounds like a conspiracy. And gosh, well, you can't talk about conspiracy. Really, why not? Wasn't it Caesar who said "E tu, Brute"? You too, Brute. Yeah. You're there. Assuming, would that be a conspiracy? My question would be, what else would it be? Excuse me, what else would it be? Did it happen after the nation had peaked and was on the downslope? Is everything kind of according to history? And are we not in exactly the same place? But gosh, whatever you do, don't think. Anyway, I wanted to read this thing from, this got sent to me this morning. It's funny, I got that, I just looked this morning at that thing that I sent from, that was sent from the, regarding the African leaders. And then I sent it to a friend of mine, and he responded with this, which I thought was incredible. Carlin says, my mind doesn't work that way. I got this real moron thing I do. It's called thinking. And I'm not a very good American because I like to form my own opinions. I have certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. And I don't take very seriously the media or the press in this country. Now, there was a time when that probably would have been something that would have made people angry. It probably would have made me angry. I don't know, back in the 80s or something. And by the way, I was aware of the stuff back then too. I got onto this pretty early, but I was still, I would have thought, gee, this is not very American. He's not, I like the fact that you think, of course, but, this stuff about going against this, anyway, at this point, if you're not thinking this way now, I mean, 50 years later, from the 70s and 60 years from the 60s, if you're not thinking this way now, they got you. You've been deeply brainwashed. He's not saying Republican or Democrat. He's not trying to make you think some way. He's just making pretty good sense. And we've got a media that's been proven to lie to us, and yet we still, what do we do every day? We run to listen to our media at dinner time. It's crazy. Anyway, I thought I'd show you a chart. If everybody's not thinking with me, let's see if we can not think together. And a lot of people who have been, in the business for many decades, have found that, this particular market where we've gone, straight up in just a ridiculous way. Matter of fact, let's take a look at, let me throw one other chart on top of this one. Let's just turn this into a monthly real quick. Okay. And let's
That's about as parabolic as it gets.
Let's bring this into reality. Okay. And we can do a little bit more. Okay, here you go. You have never had this kind of move in the history of the stock market ever, or anything approaching it. This one was pretty crazy. This one, it just dwarfs this one. And it's straight up. And this happened when the economy was having full employment. Things were humming. Everything was going well. You had the big political battles, but as far as the economy, as far as employment, as far as things happening well, things were going well. And here, this began COVID. So this is all COVID and everything that's happened since then, with a world that's fallen apart and a country that's fallen apart. And somehow this is happening. I'm not smart enough to understand this happening when things get bad and this happening when things get good. Fortunately, I've been around long enough to know why that's happening and what it confirms. And the fact that they're telling you not to think, and what conspiracy theory, gee, you must have an aluminum foil hat on. Or maybe you've got a brain that actually works and you're utilizing it. That's another possibility. Right. So anyway, when you've got this, the question is, now we're here. Are we getting close to a top? Are we ever going to have a top? Are these people going to keep this charade going until they have full and total control over everyone and everything in every nation? And my answer to that is, why wouldn't they? In other words, if this falls off and you have a correction, maybe more people start to think again. I don't know. I'm trying to think, and I'm trying to throw out thoughts that people who think might, be interested in hearing. Why wouldn't they keep this going? So my thought is they might. Can they do it? Sure. Apparently they can. How can you have this happen in bad times? How does this happen in bad times? So if we're asking, can they keep this going until they take full control over every nation in the planet, and most particularly what they need to control is Europe and the United States, because that's what I read almost 50 years ago, that's what they needed to do in order to win. So all they have to really do is, I think they've got Europe pretty much under control. It looks to me like they've got the U.S. under control. So maybe it's just a matter of a little bit more, and it'll be under full control, and there you go. So can this continue up? Yeah. Why would it need another correction if the goal it doesn't have anything to do with the stock market and the economy and reality, because it doesn't have anything to do with reality, or the stock market or valuations. Obviously something else is going on. So the other side of that is we got to play it as it lies. So there's no indication that this is going to turn, but just looking at it, it's the most overvalued market in history now, exceeding 2,000. And you've got something that's kind of a problem, I would think. Let's look at the short term and go back to this chart. This is an hourly chart. I know a lot of guys who've been in the business over 40 years that are well respected. I've talked to many of them lately. And the answer from what I view to be the smartest people around is, I don't have a clue. I don't know. What do you think? That's the conversation. And I would tend to think that that's the conversation with a lot of real top people. I tried to take this 60-minute chart and maybe put some kind of an Elliott wave thing on it. And we've got well, if you go back a little bit, there's a C wave over here and then a correction. Well, here. There it is. The C wave here, and you've got an ABC going down to this low. And that's a wave 4 low of a small scale. You've probably got a 1, 2, and then 3 all the way over here, and ABC 4 here, and we're in a 5th wave, and we're doing a much bigger a larger pattern, A, B, and then this would be a 5-wave C wave, and this is wave 1 and wave 2, and we're just in wave 3. This may move up here, correct down here, and go up here. Why do I have 4,500 as a target? Well, on a monthly chart, we've got price bands that go back, well, on the S&P as far back as you can go. You can go back easily to the 60s. On the Dow, you can go back to the 1920s. But the upper monthly band, daily bands are usually really excessive, but the actual monthly band is up at 4,500. And that means that, monthly bands are almost never reached. Bless you. Monthly bands are almost never reached. And if we get up to 4,500, we're going to reach an upper monthly band. And history says, and history hasn't had, a government takeover before, to my knowledge, in this country. But history says you get up to 4,500 and it's a sell. Now, my caveat is just what I said. These guys may keep this thing up indefinitely until they accomplish what they want to accomplish. If I was in their position, having their goals, I don't know, that's probably what I'd do. But if not, if there is still some reality where the market will go up and down, then this probably runs up here, corrects down to here, and comes back up here into Monday or Tuesday, and then we have a correction. That's what it looks like to me. And the other thing I was going to point out is, let's see what this is. This is, well, I wasn't going to point that. This is kind of like my primary trend indicator. On this one, this is a weekly. As long as these two are pointing up, it's, hey, things are pointing up, we're bullish. That was a divergent sell signal that didn't do much. And we got another one last Friday, which didn't do much. So now you're getting divergent sell signals. Last Friday was a weekly and a daily divergent sell signal. And you've seen the market, it hasn't gone down. I don't remember, there may have been one, but I don't remember when you've had a daily and a weekly, which can only happen on a Friday, by the way, because you can't get a real weekly reading until the end of the week.
Right.
So to have a daily and a weekly divergent sell signal is a rare thing, and almost always results in the market going down. Those are the ones you just, it's on Friday, you go, just say, I'm going short. I don't care what happens over the weekend. I'm going short, over the weekend, not even concerned. And it would have been a good time to be concerned because, we're up. These are, so anyway, there's a weekly, it's saying, there's no reason to sell. The daily, I just thought I'd take a quick look at these. Both of these are going up. It's saying there's no reason to sell. Here you've got divergences here. You got a little correction. You got another divergence. I was telling you on Friday, there's your Friday divergent sell right there. And we're moving up. So is something strange happening? You bet there is. This shows, and this is the hourly. So what's it saying? The hourly will get up and turn over and cross over, and then you'll go down, and then it'll reverse, and then you'll get a move up. Now you've been in this for the moment, in the time being, we're inside this. And it would say that as we get up here to 4,500, we probably shouldn't break through that. On the other hand, and here, however, as you look at that, after this point where we came up and we made this point, you'd think, well, this means you should sell, but we wouldn't know that here because we're using this point, and well, if you had this point and this point and you connected them when you got here, you say you hit the trend line, you should sell, and my lines turned down, so that was a good sell. Now you've got this as a corrective point, so you can draw this trend line and use this, which makes this line even more valid. And when you came up and hit it here, it turned and you should sell again. And that would imply that now it's really valid. When we hit it up here, you should probably sell again. This is the 60-minute. The key on this is going to be right here. As long as when this line rolls over and crosses through, you're going to have a pretty good sell signal. Do they work? Well, let's take, we know that we had a divergent sell signal. Here's a downturn. It's hanging around the line. It breaks through it. You do go lower, but whoom, wow, it's come right back. So if you're watching the 60-minute, it's saying, okay, get short. It's breaking through here. But an hour and a half, 2 hours later, it says, first of all, you went above your prior bar. In other words, this bar here went above this. That's probably a place where you put your stop. So you're out, and now maybe long. So that's why you want to watch an hourly on something like this. But let me go back. I wanted to go to, let's do this, see if that works. I wanted to go back to a different thing. I wanted to show some, these are all daily indicators here. And on this one, again, you had a divergent sell signal. But look where you are in the stochastics. You're up in the 90s. The stochastics only go to 100. And they can go up and they can stay in plane at that level.
For a long time,
but, yeah. But the point is, both of these are in the 90s now, and they're up there pretty high. And at other times here, you usually get corrections. I look for confirmation in my indicator here. I look for the RSI. The RSI got up here overbought, and then we had a correction. And now it's setting up a divergence on the RSI. When it turns down, it'll almost assuredly be a divergence. This may or may not be a divergence, but the stochastic, it's one of the indicators. The RSI is probably more important. A couple of other things is that this market hasn't gotten legitimately overbought for a long time, at least on the readings. This is the McClellan oscillator. It's now at 56. It was, let's take a look at this. Down here, it was, let's see, minus 300. So we're coming back from a minus 300 to a positive 56. Look how these have topped at a lesser and lesser level. So even at this one, which was a breakout above this line, here you're only at 115. So maybe next week we get up to 80 or 90 or 100. That's something I would say to watch for in the McClellan oscillator. And here, this is your 10-day advanced decline line. Well, you can tell when they get up. I mean, we know that September 2nd was a top. Let's see. Where was it? Oh, back here. Sorry. When you get up here, I mean, these are major periods, and this is this is early January, and this one here is the early June top. These are extremes. Anywhere up here, you can see most of these are going to be periods where the market topped. So we got down pretty low here recently when we had a minus 300 on the, almost minus 300 on the McClellan oscillator. We were like, what is this, minus 700? What is that? Yeah, minus 750. That's pretty low. So now we're getting back up, and we could get up very easily to this region here, which is an overbought region. So for the first time in a while, we could have the McClellan oscillator up, which would be sell territory. It's close to it now. We could have the 10-day AD line there. The other thing and look at the advanced decline line. It's made its peak over here. It's making lower peaks here. This is a long-term trend line. It came underneath it. Now it's underneath it here. So it's probably not going to make a new high. And this is the relative strength on the VIX. That's what this is here. And basically what happens is when you get up above 60 or 70, it's a good place to buy them. And when you get down below 40, it's a good place to short it. It's a good place to sell the market. Well, it's been really hard to get this thing here where the market's been insane to the upside. It's been really hard to get this thing down into the 40s. And it's been, as you can see here, the reading here is, I'm having a hard time reading that here. Let me blow that up a little bit. The reading over here, and this just date-wise, you're looking at the middle of July. But the RSI here is 66. That's middle of July. Wasn't that the bottom, July 16th? So when you have a real high RSI on the VIX reading, like 66, that's a buy. When you get this thing preferably under 40, it's a sell. And we've been up above 50 for a long time, and just in the last day or two, now finally dropped down to 45. So if the remainder of today and Monday, if we can get this down below 40, all of a sudden we're having a bunch of things happen. You know, we're going to have this in a sell range. Over 400 is a sell here. That could get there easily. The McClellan oscillator, where it is up to 100 or so, we could get there. The stochastic is way up here. We look at this one here. This is Bollinger Band, okay, on a closing price. We hit the Bollinger Band here and made a high at the end of July. We corrected in high-level consolidation, and now we're moving up. What happens when we get up here? What price is that? We're probably, if we do make a move up to 4,500, we're probably going to hit this upper Bollinger Band, and this could all happen Monday. So the real question is, this is all logical, real, true overbought stuff. This is overbought playing out. Here it is on the daily. What are the hourlies? What are the hourlies doing? Well, here's the hourlies. They're up in the 90s too. And look at the divergence with where the RSI is on the hourlies. Here they got way up there. Here we're getting overbought. But this is setting up for a sell signal. This looks to be setting up for a sell signal. The dailies are up here. So for the first time in a long time, and the reason we haven't gotten up here before this is because of all this rotation, and frankly, rotation and manipulation have kept prices up here, and they've caused really crazy things to happen. I'll give you an example. This one here is the percentage of stocks above their 200-day moving average. Well, if you go back here again to the low in July, middle of July. Well, down here you had, what was the low here? 17%, only 17% of their stocks were above their 200-day moving average. And now, all of a sudden, earlier today we were above 60%, and 4 or 5 days ago we were above 60%. So this has come back. Now we've got this crazy rotation going on. So anyway, that's kind of that, and the don't think and conspiracy theory and all these things that they're telling you that aren't true, but they're pushing it all over the news media, and everybody's listening. That's what brainwashing is all about. Why wouldn't Reuters, a news agency, say, holy smokes, 5, 6, 7 guys, all wanting their country not to have the vaccination, and all of a sudden they've been killed? Why would their people kill people? You don't kill a president because he doesn't want you to get a vaccine, right? I mean, there's other reasons to kill a president. The not getting a vaccine. Why would the Africans care? They're probably in favor of it, particularly after what Gates had done to them. So not getting a vaccine is not illogical. It's pretty logical. The guy's protecting his people. If they kill 5 or 6 of these guys in a short period of time, and that seems to be the common denominator reason for that, wouldn't that be kind of a wise thing to look into, particularly if you're a journalist, as opposed to just shutting up? Oh no, well, there doesn't seem to be any connection. Why? Because you didn't look? I said, I'm not a journalist, and I can see a connection, and I could sure look into it. Why wouldn't you? You guys are journalists. This is what you do. Why wouldn't you do what you do by definition as a journalist? And the real answer to that is, hey, Garrett, what, have you been asleep? Journalists haven't been being journalists for a long time. Journalists have been parroting what they're told to say, period. Why? Well, because there's an agenda. Well, gee, is the agenda playing out? Well, yeah, but nobody seems to be aware of it, do they? Yeah, the agenda has played out. We don't have our freedom anymore. This is not the America we grew up in. We don't have freedom. We've got limited freedom, depending upon what we want to do. Pretty soon, somebody's going to come by and want to jab you in the arm. And then the only question is, what do they want to do next? What about the guys who come by and say, our people have decided that it's important that about 80% of the people on the planet are what Mr. Kissinger calls useless eaters, and we're going to be eliminating you. So our people will come by and, and they'll say, oh, gee, that's crazy. I said, really? How about being forced to have a vaccine? Is that crazy? How about having a president who didn't win the election? Is that crazy? I said, tell me, how about having the market more overvalued than it's ever been in the history and making a vertical move upward like it's never done before from March of last year? Is that crazy? Or is anybody, or can the citizens of the United States even tell what's crazy anymore? Are they even the proper people to ask? In other words, do any of them still have the capacity to actually think for themselves just for a few moments? And the answer is, yeah, of course, a few do, but way too many don't. And those are the ones that are currently on the side of the decision makers. So there you go. It's not hard. If you make it hard, it's hard. If you think a little bit, it's not illegal to think. It's kind of illegal, I think.
Oh, you can think, but you better keep your mouth shut.
I think the dead gentleman in Africa, sadly, would say, you better rethink that comment, pal.
Yeah, we talked about this infrastructure bill, the $1 trillion package, before you came on today. Less than 25% actually goes towards rebuilding roads, repairing bridges, stuff that, according to Webster, is the definition of a country's infrastructure. Less than 25% actually goes to
Dwayne, I'll bet you. Now, I don't know anything about what's in that bill because I lost interest in it a long time ago when I found that there was very little that's infrastructure in there. And the question is whether there's stuff that's in there for infrastructure. Will they even do that? Because what happens is once it gets in there and things get passed, it falls into the hands of the people who utilize that money. My guess is that 75% of this is money going to assure that the agenda that is happening continues to happen. That's what any raised money is about. There's nothing in this country going on anymore other than one thing. The new leaders have taken over. I mean, anybody, the people who argue this point are sound asleep. We've been taken over, and it started a long time ago, but it's happened now. So, and my thought is, I'm not saying anything about it one way or the other. So there it is. That's what's happened. We've got a new agenda, and there it is. And anybody who thinks that this money is going for anything other, we found that people coming over the border, not only are a lot of them criminal, but a good deal of them have COVID. And my thought is, if we're really concerned about keeping COVID from happening, if we're really concerned, and it would appear that we are because everybody wants to get a shot, and we've proven that shots don't keep you from getting COVID. Masks don't keep the virus out of entering your body. So masks are, obviously, if you're an oxygen breathing machine, masks do not protect you. These viruses are very small. They go right.
Fauci said that early on in this whole thing.
Yeah, but well after people were wearing masks for a long time.
That guy's got more flip-flops than a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Well, Fauci would never have said it if everybody in the medical community or anybody, really gave him some pushback and said, this is easily proven. The virus goes right through your mask, in and out. So they do nothing. But they are very, very good at limiting the amount of oxygen volume that you take on an in-breath, and having your out-breath remain in the mask so that you're breathing in carbon dioxide instead of oxygen. And that's the same thing that happened back in 1918 when they had the last thing. People were wearing masks and getting sick. Why do you get sick? Well, because you injure your immune system by removing oxygen and replacing it with carbon dioxide. Duh. But, once again, don't think. My gosh, try not to think. It's unbelievable. Masks make no sense at all if you think. But there are people that will get very angry at you when you don't have a mask on.
Yeah.
And you ask them, say, oh, are you scientifically knowledgeable about masks? Yes, I saw it on TV. I said, no, it wasn't. You missed the question. I don't think you heard the question. You know, but again, we've got a angry nation with a bunch of brainwashed people and an agenda for depopulation. And I think the ways of getting that depopulation are going to be the obvious way. It's pretty clear that COVID is not a danger. People aren't dying from that. People were made to look to die from that. You know, if you fell off the roof and broke your arm, it was COVID. So, and if you broke your neck and died, it was definitely COVID. And, you know, make sure to put him on a ventilator before he dies. So that way we get paid $39,000, even though he fell off a roof. So, you know, it's pretty crazy. And hopefully, I mean, I think people are waking up, but one of the problems is that you don't have any news media, including Fox. You know, Fox is there just to kind of pat you on the head and say, oh, we're there to don't worry, we're there on your side. And the reality with them is they're owned by the same people. You just have to speak to those other. In other words, here's the question. Is Fox suggesting you take a vaccine or not? I think they're suggesting you take a vaccine.
You know,
I'm
not sure what their official policy is.
I haven't seen anybody have any, you know, I think
most of the hosts have talked about that they have, in fact, gotten the vaccine.
Oh, I mean, everybody who's got a voice on TV says it, you know. But the smartest guy out there, Dr. David Martin, who's really done the stuff and exposed the whole thing, Reuters came out and discredited him. Oh, I'm sorry, who owns Reuters? How do you discredit this guy? This guy's one of the smartest guys out there, and his job is to do what journalists should be doing. That's his job. His job is to get to the bottom of it. He got to the bottom of it, and did it in a more effective way than I've seen anybody else. And all the medical records are there to back it. All these countries that Israel was one of the foremost countries to do the vaccine. Their rates of infection are skyrocketing. So South Korea, so's, you know, a number of these places. So why would you get the vaccine if it doesn't work? I mean, if the cases are skyrocketing, why would you take the vaccine? Oh, and by the way, they're skyrocketing in the vaccinated people more than the unvaccinated. But you're not reading that anywhere, are you? So anyway,
all right, brother.
I think I'll just go get my brainwashing pill and join in because nobody else seems to. You know, it's uncomfortable to try to think. You know.
Yeah, it makes your head hurt.
Yeah, it makes your head hurt. Much easier to follow in. So I guess I'll go turn on CNN and find out what I'm supposed to do for the rest of the day.
All right, give me a call over the weekend.
Hey, I might, and maybe
later
this
today.
afternoon we got a little time. That would be good, Dwayne.
All right, sounds
Thanks.
good.
Thanks so much, my friend.
Thanks, Garrett. Always a pleasure. Okay, guys. Time now to wrap up the week. Our good word for the day. We've been talking for the last 3 days. We've been getting fishing lessons. Well, today's lesson number 4. Luke 5:4 says, "And when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, 'Put out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch.'" Lesson number 4. God's plan for your life always involves risk. Why? Because he wants you to live by faith. Why do you think Jesus said to Peter, "Launch out into the deep"? Well, if you know anything about fishing, that's where the big fish are. Most people live out their days in the shallow waters of life. They exist on a superficial level. There's little depth to their lives. They're content to play around the edge, never getting out into deeper water. Why? No, because it's safer in shallow water. They think if I get out into the deep water, there might be some waves. They might rock my boat. It might overturn. So I'll just stay back where it's comfortable and fiddle around. We barely get our feet wet because we're afraid of getting in over our heads. We think if I really get serious about my commitment to God, He may make me a fanatic. My family might get really upset. What would my friends think? What if God asked me to do something I'm unable to do? So we're content to stay in the shallows, and we miss out on much. Understand this. God's plan for your life is a good plan, one that will work out for your benefit. Jeremiah 29:11. The plans for your life are good, not plans to hurt you. He says, let me get into your boat. Let my presence be with you wherever you go. In your business, in your career, in your family, in your marriage, in every area of your life. Let me direct you. Cooperate with my plan, and I will bless you beyond your wildest dreams. That's God's promise to you as His child, as a believer. So, why not take Him at His word and launch out in faith? That's our good word for the day. And that wraps up the week. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you get to spend some quality time with your family and the ones you love. And I come into agreement with Fred in the chat box. We pray for our country and for the world to have the truth revealed. God's truth. In Jesus' name. Thank you, Fred. And to everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.